Unfortunately, I'm gonna be the hater on this card. I honestly, I do hate cards like these.
80% of the people were playing the same freaking deck.
Welcome to WWB Ward Wide Broadcast. This is episode 45, and it is a holiday. I got my hat on. It's Christmas, or some would say Wardmas. And there's Billy, and we have.
They don't say that.
Wardmas. I'm gonna say it a bunch.
They don't say that. They don't say that.
Wardmas. All right, and we have a special guest on. This is Chandler. Chandler went to the recent tournament, the Top Gun Games tournament that they had down in. Is that not it? Big Top Games. Yeah, we'll chop it. Big Top Games. It was hosted by Evan, the store owner. It was the first Ward event, I would say, at his LCG or LSG, and you guys all competed there and played in it, and so we're going to kind of get Chandler's take on it. But first, let's get to know Chandler. Chandler, if you want to just maybe say a little bit about yourself and how you got into Ward, that would be a good start for everything.
Yeah, so I'm based out of North Carolina, and I think it was probably about a year and a half ago, I was scrolling through Facebook like many of us do, or Instagram, I couldn't really tell you. And I saw this advertisement for Ward trading card game. And I said, let me check this out. And I looked into it, and I looked into it a little more, and I looked into it a little more than that. And next thing I know, I think I bought two Gen 2 starter packs and a couple boosters. And the next thing I know, I was like, okay, I can get into this. I've got it in my hands. I can tell people that this is a pretty cool game.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting from North Carolina, where it's like, I'm sure you don't really have too much of there wasn't other people that were like, hey, get into this game. It's like you kind of had to do a lot of the looking and the searching yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I tried to find people who were close by through the Discord. There were only a handful, and if they were in North Carolina, they're about 5 hours out on the coast, way farther than I'm honestly willing to travel. So I tried with like my brother-in-law. I said, "Hey, man, I know you're into X, Y, and Z games. Hear me out on this. I think this is gonna be big."
No, that's awesome. And then obviously you're talking about traveling, but to go to this tournament in Georgia, it sounded like you did quite a bit of traveling to get there. So I'm glad you were able to get out to your first event.
Yeah, that was great, man. Like I said, this is for going to Big Top Games. That was my first real in-person tournament. I'd played on Untapped, and I kind of was definitely able to learn the ropes for the fall league, and there were a lot of people through there that helped me. But getting there, I wouldn't say it's a completely different experience, but I got a lot more nervous than I was than doing it over my laptop.
That's fair. And I mean, I guess for you though, it's like having that experience, playing. I mean, we'll always promote our league. We're talking about the WWB Fall League that just concluded. We'll definitely talk about that a little later. But you were actually someone who participated in it. This was your first time being in the league, really playing, I guess you could say, competitive Ward. I mean, me and Billy like to always preach that like our league is kind of meant to be more of like for fun, get people just able to play Ward that aren't in the area, around our area. So it's awesome to have somebody who can finally put on a camera and say, hey, this guy isn't from our area and he got to play in the league. So it's like, could you maybe just cover that a little bit of your Untap experience playing through the fall league for us and just kind of say like how it kind of got you more into Ward maybe?
Yeah, so I mean, I think I made it pretty clear I can't remember who I played first, and I can't remember their screen name off the top of my head because if I did, I'd mispronounce it. But I openly said, "Hey, listen, this is my first game ever. A little rough around the edges. Just be patient with me." And he was nothing but patient. And heck, I'll try to say his name. Dynamite.
Oh, yep. Adam.
Sound about right?
Yeah.
Adam M, because I know we've got about 2 or 3 Adams in the group and AJs and. But no, he was very graceful with me. I lost, but it was okay because on the side, I had a little notepad just like this. I was taking notes. I was like, don't do this in the future.
Nice.
Do this in the future. And I think Michelle also, she chimed in at one point. She's like, I think after we were said and done, she kind of gave me some pointers. She was awesome. I can't thank her and him enough for just kind of show me those ropes and they made me better, and I
I guess
appreciated
it's
them for
always one of
that.
those things, right? When you first are like getting into a community, you don't really know anybody, and it's just like just to be hit with that wave of like, oh, we are here, we want to support you, want to help you, we're not trying to push you away or make you feel like you're alienated from our group. And it sounds like everybody was very just welcoming and like wholesome. I mean, you also did play me myself. I'm hoping I come in this story somewhere and you reference me and say, oh, Harry was helpful,
Yeah,
but it's all right.
you're somewhere in the notepad
I'm the
somewhere.
Elkanah's dick bang that just beat you quick and dirty. Just kidding. No, sorry.
But no,
I'll let you continue.
the fall league was good.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, like you said, I had a fun time with it. I didn't do as well as I like to. You know, for some reason, no matter, even if it is for fun, my little competitive itch in the back of my head just is like, come on, you know you can do that. You can go harder. And you're just like, nah. You're like, I want to have fun. I played some gnomes. I went a little silly with my skeleton deck for the tribal. So you know what, I'm trying to tame myself too when it comes to the league, because I really do like to see just new cards and try out new combos and things. So like I said, I hope it was, you know, it sounds like it was a great experience for you. I'm sure Billy will preach it to you, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But so how did that kind of prepare you, maybe, is something I'd want to ask going into this tournament here, you know, at the big top games.
It, and I'll just basically repeat what I just said. It's like I said, I really was taking notes. I think I had learned a little bit of something from everyone, whether I won, lost, and just to touch on, I mean, it's been a great community. It almost, even though it's competitive, it didn't feel like there was a lot of animosity towards each other like you've seen in other TCGs, especially for
Right.
me in the past.
I think it's kind of crazy. You guys had a 12-person turnout. Like honestly, I mean, Georgia is quite a distance away from where, you know, our, I would say, like the main hub of Ward is at the moment. You know, we all come from. I'm located near Minnesota. Billy too. It's like we're pretty close to where everything kind of started. So it's like it's kind of cool to hear that like 12 people got together, played, you know, kind of a little ways away, and it's just maybe a fun little story that it's like, oh yeah, this could happen in other areas and other stores, that they could you know, throw on these tournaments and have these kind of turnouts, because it sounds like, yeah, it sounded like it turned out pretty well. I mean, did you want to maybe talk about a couple of your stories, or maybe go over your deck that you played in the tournament?
Yeah. So I walked into the store. It was a little bit later in the evening, probably closer to when registration was about to close, doing the smoldering hero thing, you know, trying to look cool coming in last minute. I was like, hey, uh, I don't know who I need to talk to, but I'm here for the Ward tournament. He's like, oh, you want Evan? So Evan comes back. I said, hey, I'm the guy from North Carolina. Man, Evan, he was excited. I talked to him on the phone beforehand. I talked to him online, and he was just excited to have me out there. So his energy alone just it made me feel welcome, and
No, that's
I'm gonna
awesome.
keep probably going back to that. Um, so I walked in. He introduced me to everybody. They're like, "Hey, this is Chandler. He drove 200 miles in 3 hours to come play in the Ward tournament," and everyone was just happy and welcomed me. It was a great feeling, especially for that being my first in person game. So that was a good start for me. Um,
Did it feel like everyone there kind of knew what Ward and like understood Ward? Because I mean, we have some tournaments where we get a lot of new people who come in. This is kind of their first time playing, even maybe a card game at all. And so it's like kind of interesting when you see just like the range of people that are there, right? That like kind of culminate. How was it for you, like going there? Did it seem like everybody kind of had a grasp of what Ward was?
yeah, absolutely. I think he said there were players that were 3 weeks in tops, and he told me they're picking it up very quickly. Um, and some of those players, basically they had broken it down into two separate Swiss brackets, kind of your intro players, or I think he used the word intermediate, and then your more competitive advanced players, which is what I entered because I was feeling cocky. I was like, okay, I can do this. I've seen a thing or two at this point on the fall league. I can do this.
I've been beat by
um,
some good players. I know what's up.
I definitely I underestimated a lot of people. I'll admit that. Um, but it was crazy because there were people who hadn't been playing very long, and they had great strategy. They had great decks.
Maybe they've been
So that was
watching.
really cool to see.
Maybe they've been watching the podcast. They're getting some interesting
Maybe.
info from it. Me and Billy, we got to try to take credit where we. No, just kidding. But no,
Chandler, why don't you talk about what deck you played?
So I don't know if there's really a rhyme or reason to it. I did post that on the Discord at one point, but something I tend to favor is a very high speed, low HP, just something that's going to hit you fast, hard. I can get out on the field with a little spicy effect like Assassin, Raccoon Knight, Artist. I love those cards. And I definitely considered those, even though there's not really quite a meta yet. I was like, okay, these are good. This is going to do some work.
Many
and
followed in
how
your
quickly
footsteps,
I was
don't worry.
humbled.
There are many people that have had those decks, and I don't blame you. When you're like looking at stats, you're just like, yep, fast, can hit hard. This is what I want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, continue with your deck.
No, I just tried to put some of what I assumed was, were some of the best cards, and I boiled it down to I had really terrible rolls that day, all three matches, and what ended up happening was it's not that I got all creatures knocked out. I think I had a grand total of 6 or 7 total, and I think I used the word decked out, but I ran out of usable creatures at that point every time, all 3 matches. Had some good fights in there, but I was just short on creature cards, and I definitely learned from that.
Was your HP total like less than 300 for just your whole deck?
Oh gosh, yeah, it definitely was. I think the highest I actually got up to was about 180, which was 10 points short of Scarlet, and once she was gone, I was done.
Ooh, the Scarlet made it in the deck too. Okay. So really, was there anyone without 12 speed? Now I'm curious. Did you have any creatures without 12 speed?
Nadara.
What is all? Yeah, Nadara. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, he's 12.
The old god.
The old god was in there. What is he? 11, 10?
Spicy old god play.
He's not 12 speed, but yeah, he's up there.
Okay.
But the whole reason I put him in, I was hoping I'd pull him in a helping hand at the same time, and stars did not align on that.
Yeah. The helping hand strat, that's something when I first got into Gen 1. Obviously, I came from Gen 2, and so that didn't exist when I first... Well, it existed, but I just didn't have the knowledge of it. But once I was like, oh, this card's awesome. I can bring out some big creatures, and it definitely has that good feeling. I think in our game, too, in the Fall League that we played against each other, Chandler, you brought out the Old God with the helping hand. And I do think it has potential, but it is a really hard card to play around. There's a lot of little things that can go on in the fight that it's like, oh, yeah, I got to be kind of careful of. So, but either way, I mean, what were kind of the magic cards that you were running? We kind of covered the creatures. Did you maybe just want to go over it? Was there a certain kind of like play style with magic cards that you had, or was it just kind of like throw in what I think kind of works with this, or what was the vibe?
Yeah, just kind of went with the flow. I was like, okay, I know I want things that can't be negated, like Creator's Gift, Celestial Power. I think Billy, me and you worked on that deck together, and I was like, okay, should I put this or this? And then there were times I was like, okay, I'm being stupid. This is better than this, 100%. Like, and that was cool because I think you acknowledged it too. Like, I was able to figure out on my own, like, okay, this is a substantially better choice over other cards. And I guess I tried to look for those, better options, and I wouldn't really say there was a strategy per se besides go fast, hit hard, hit a lot of dice rolls if I could, and hopefully it worked out for the best. And in this case, it did not, because it really did boil down.
Was it like heavier equipment, maybe more standard? Was it flash spells? I guess I'm just curious. Like, what would you say like the majority of your deck kind of was?
I would say it was mostly lightning cards. Trying to counter the other opponent and just hold them off just long enough to get those stats up or to wear them down.
Okay. Yeah, no. Now that we've kind of talked about your deck, now I have a very curious question that I want to know. What's your interpretation of the flow of Ward? And maybe that's a weird general question, but like when you play it,
What does
when
that
you
even mean?
listen, when you play a game of Ward, like you were saying, there were some things that you take notes and they kind of maybe caught you off guard while you were playing. Is it like is do you feel like there's like kind of like a way that Ward, I would say like, oh, yes, it might feel like speed and all these things are really strong in the game, but it's like here, these are some things that like maybe you like noticed as you were playing where it's like, oh yeah, this is kind of how like a Ward game unfolds and things maybe I need to like look, pay attention to a little bit more when you play. Sorry, I know, maybe a little too general, Billy. It's okay. Rein me in if you have to.
No, I think I can answer that. I'll just give my personal opinion on this, and I think it kind of goes back to the reason I was attracted to Ward is a lot of it can be based on chance of the dice roll. You can have a good looking deck like I thought I had, and get completely demolished by someone who pops open a starter pack and just had better dice rolls. How the flow went, I kept getting negated. Anything kept getting countered. That's kind of what did me in on top of just bad dice rolls.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, for a game that is a lot of based on dice roll, I do. I mean, I'm tending to be someone who believes that it's like there is still a ton of strategy and a ton of like synergy that you can put into a deck to kind of like give yourself the most optimal chance. Yes, I have been screwed by dice rolls myself. Like, there are times where you're just like I remember there was one time I played double hit and the first attack I do does a critical miss.
Crit
And
miss.
I'm like, dude. And then but no, and then it's just a total whiplash on the next one. Then it's like hit a crit, and it's just like it's like yes, there are some
That was
craziness that happens with those.
that was our game, our average Joe game with the Curious Crow. I remember you played double hit. I'm like, oh, here we go, and then you crit missed. I was like, this is awesome.
Oh, and I'll tell you what, a crit miss at the wrong time can really do you in. But I do think overall, if you really, build a good strategy around your deck, it's like even if you do have some of those like failure attempts on doing something, you usually can still make a pretty consistent deck that can like perform pretty well.
Yeah, and that is something I have started looking into to try to analyze those things a little more. Man, I don't think I've seen three people in a row roll out of Scarlet as fast as they did, this past weekend. It was bad. It
Oh,
was
that's
like
a killer.
Oh,
if
That's
it wasn't the
killer.
first attack, it was the second one, and I was amazed every single time. It's like, okay, this is gonna save me. Scarlet's gonna save me. She did not save me, guys.
she's not as great as you might think. Like I said, she has her place. I've had times where I've played a Flame of the Infinite and they play their Scarlet and they're like, yeah, joke's on you, you have Flame of the Infinite. And then the first roll of 3 dice just happened to hit. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. There goes your wall, your 10 HP
Oh
wall that you
no,
relied on. So yeah,
Hmm.
I hear you.
I ended up having a 3 hour match in the fall league, and I'm drawing a blank who it was against, but me and him both had Scarlet on the field. We both basically
Oh
buffed each
no.
other up to 4 dice rolls, 3 hours. I kid you not. It was awful. But hey, I learned
That's a Billy
if I
strat right
buff them
there.
up, yeah, if she needed more than 2 dice rolls, or I did, that I was going to be able to stop her. So that's one of those things I wrote down in that little notebook of mine.
Fair enough. I mean, we kind of touched the HP. Is that something too? Maybe you would probably consider, maybe adjusting a little bit. I personally usually always put about 300 HP in my deck just to kind of like round it out to make sure that it's like I'm getting a good value of HP. What are your thoughts on just
No,
HP totals?
I 100% agree with you. That was one thing I did reflect on. I definitely needed more HP in that deck, more creatures to play with. I think the highest thing besides Old God I went up to was maybe Nadara, and I think he's a total of 60 off the top of my head. Sound about right?
Yeah, it's 60.
Hmm.
And it's not that much, all things considered. Like I said, I think I had 180 to 190 total in my deck. So that is something I had to reevaluate once I got back.
No, for sure. I guess that was just kind of more of where my question was with just like the flow of the game. Is just like you kind of notice these things, like you said, you're like, oh yeah, let's just put all these powerful creatures and everything's just gonna work. And then like before you know it, you're like, oh yeah, a sack creature needs 2 creatures. What do I sack away for that? Things like that just come up in a game and you don't really think about them until you've had that competitiveness of like, oh yeah, I actually need to like sit and think about how my deck is gonna function in these different situations. So I was just as a competitor, it's always something I find very curious when it comes to the tournaments. Maybe you want to cover Chandler too, just like how your journey maybe went through that day. And like obviously you don't have to like cover each game super in depth, but just like how were you performing? Maybe decks that you were going up against while you were playing on your way through the day.
So it was kind of hard to really nail down what each person's strategy was. I can name creatures that I know on my first loss with Matt. He did me in with subject 4212. And it boiled down back to HP and just kind of longevity on his end. He was just wearing me down bit by bit.
Hmm.
Second game, and like I said, I'm looking at my little notepad here as I'm frantically writing it down. Perfect Shark got me on the second game. Again, wore me down, and that's kind of going back to the whole HP, reevaluating that. I said, man, they're putting a lot out there they're putting a lot of effort into getting these high HP, high roll creatures out there, and it's paying off for them every time.
Mm.
Now for the third game, I think there wasn't anything that I wrote down in particular, but I see a lot of numbers as far as me just getting completely sacked each creature.
Okay.
Whenever I go to tournaments, I was actually talking to Eric about this the last time I was at. I was telling him that, my goal when I go to a tournament, yeah, I like to win, but that winning doesn't necessarily mean I have a good day. My goal when I go to a tournament is I want to either have fun or I want to learn something. And if I don't do either one of those things, then it wasn't a good time. So I really like what you're doing with the notepad. I don't do that, but I probably should start because I try to take something away, like some little piece of information from each match, whether it's something my opponent did that I thought was like really clever or something that I like misplayed. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I should do something different. So I think using a notepad to um, kind of like document your playing and who you're playing against and like your decks and that kind of thing. I think it's going to pay off in the long run, like really, really well.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, no one there was really using. I'm sorry, no one there was really using like Life Tap or anything like that. We were all doing pen to pad, and that definitely was a benefit. I mean, I can literally look through the scores and where I was getting whittled down, so I can kind of reflect on that, and really, like I said, it's like what you said. Just I can take something away from that where I went wrong.
Right. It's kind of like you're capturing a moment in time and being like, here, now I can actually go back and analyze all these little parts of it. Because, like, there's so many board games I've played at this moment in my head now. And I will admit, I'm not somebody who uses pen and paper. I probably should more. So, yeah, there are tons of times where I'm, like, trying to remember what exactly happened in that game, and how, you just have all the feeling and all those things that come with it. You're just like, I don't remember half the stuff that I do. That's why it makes me funny. Like Billy said, like, a lot of times I just tell myself, hey, try to learn something, which is very similar to Billy. And then also, obviously, I would like to think anytime I'm touching a ward card, I'm having fun. I have had games, as Billy's talking now, he might have fun playing against other people, but there are times where he comes up to my Elkanos game that he has to play against me, and he comes to the table and he's a little grumpy. He's like, all right, I don't know if I'm about to get put through hell.
Don't like playing
put through
cancer.
hell or not. But yeah, no, we probably play each other more often than not, right, Billy? So I can understand that feeling. But no, I think it is really cool that you document them, and like you said, it sounds like each game you're able to take something from that and be like, here, this added to my experience, and now I have this memory where I played these people, and it's kind of interesting because, like you said, I'm sure for a lot of them too, that was their first ward tournament, so it's like you guys kind of all were learning together and just trying to understand the game. I mean, did you have any confusions with like rulings or anything that maybe you were like, oh man, I really wish I would have like brought that up with somebody so I could like learn the ruling or anything like that? Do you know, Chandler, off the top of your head?
No, I know I did reach out to you for one of them. It was the first match. Matt played Jerry. I had Nadara out on the field, and there was that question of what is he copying? Is he copying that first 4 dice rolls plus 1 or the 1 dice roll plus 4?
Right.
And me and Matt basically said, okay, well, we feel like that secondary attack is the effect, not necessarily that primary attack that Jerry's, gonna copy. And
Right.
we both came to an agreement. And it's little things like that. I mean, that's on the first page of my notebook for that tournament. Nadara equals Jerry, exactly how I wrote it. And I was like, I know exactly what that means.
Yeah, no,
And we
exactly.
followed
Nice.
up on it, and we felt comfortable about it.
Yeah, it's actually interesting too, because yeah, if you do negate, I think this happened in one of our tournaments. KC, you've probably talked to a little bit too, Chandler in the Discord and stuff. He played Nadar in a tournament and it got negated, and that was actually something that he brought up too, was how exactly does that work when he's negated? And it's like, yep, you just can't use that second attack. You're only able to use the first attack. So just so people
That's
know,
interesting.
if you wanna maybe stop him from being able to hit all the time with a 1+4 attack, then you can negate him. So you're right. They treat it just like a creature effect, so that is basically his effect on the card. So he is not. He is a. That's the thing though, because like Casey was arguing attack beacon, but I think even with maybe the way they word it now, with it being like an effect, I don't think you can play like attack beacon or something with him because he is technically an effect creature. But again, don't quote me. I wouldn't say I know the answer to that question, but we definitely need to get that ruling.
And if you're saying the second attack is his effect, then that
then
means
it would
he's an
make
effect
it.
creature.
Yeah, then that would make him an effect creature.
Yeah,
Either
it says
way.
during battle you may use the below attack in place of slide. That's an effect.
Yeah, that does sound
Yeah,
like an effect.
yeah,
It'd just be like any other card if it said do this instead of this. Yeah, it's like that's an effect.
yeah.
But yeah, no, that's
Cool
awesome.
stuff.
But I'm glad that there wasn't too much confusion, because I'll admit there's times where we come to tournaments and like I said, a lot of new players. So a lot of time there's a lot of debating of like, how does this effect work or what does this mean? And sometimes people aren't always happy with like how the flavor text on cards are compared to just like what they want to take from the card, and a lot of gray area, I guess we would say. So it's like I'm glad to hear that it seemed like everybody was like able to kind of just like, here, this is the ruling. We're all just gonna roll with the ruling that we put in place.
Yeah, and I mean, and we talked about oh gosh, Helping Hand when my primary got taken out. That was another one.
Sliding over.
Because yeah, I had never gotten put in that situation, and then we didn't have the full rules right there in front of us. I think Evan actually paused our match for a minute, and I was messaging you. I'm looking through the extended rules, and we or the extended descriptions, and it still really wasn't clear. And we came to that decision that he just slides over the Helping Hand creature.
Yeah. So if anyone
And
doesn't know
and
what Chandler's saying is that if your primary creature dies and you have a Helping Hand creature, which the Helping Hand lets you limit summon a creature from your hand and put it on the field as limited summon. So if your main creature dies, it gets sent to your cemetery. Then that, instead of you having to play a new creature when your creature dies, then you get to slide over that Helping Hand creature. So it is, I would say it's kind of a weird ruling and a weird thing that a lot of people have had questions on of how they work. I mean, me and Billy have had endless conversations of, okay, if my creature dies before battle, how does that work? If my creature dies, by burn damage, how does that work? If like, there's just so many different things that it brings open.
It's one of the unique mechanics to Ward. That's not really in any other card game. And there's a lot of mechanics in Ward that are in most of the card games, like summon a creature, play a magic card, quick play magic cards. Like those are all like intuitive because like I've, like there are quick play magic cards in other games. There are, summoning creatures in other games, so like you kind of intuitively understand that, but limited summons because it's its own unique thing to Ward. It's like, yeah, so I have to like oh, I have to. It's not intuitive right off the bat. You have to learn it. So, yeah, actually, I did the same thing, Chandler. My first instinct with cards is to go look at the extended description, and it talks about what happens when Helping Hands destroy. But the direct, the sliding for limited someone's ruling isn't in there. You have to go to the actual rule book to find that. So
correct.
maybe that's something they might want to add into the extended description because
Right.
mid tournament, what do? You go to the extended description, right, Harry?
Yeah. Let's not talk about the extended. Oh my lord.
Chandler, I've gotten Harry so many times on extended descriptions. I'll play a card and he's like, "That's not what that does." I'm like, "That's exactly what it does."
I've been in the final of Ward Bowl, Chandler, and I've had to have somebody go, "That's not how that card works," while I'm literally sweating from the top of my head down to my toes, and I'm just like, seriously, can everyone just shut up about the extended text?
Well,
Gotta
I
play it
mean,
correct.
Harry, or yeah, was it not you who told me about the magic slots are I don't want to say exclusively for continuous cards where you can still add those equip cards on top of that even if you're filled up.
So it depends on the type of card. So if it's a standard, like let's say you play, I'm trying to think. Like let's say what Winter Sentinel, I guess, or what's an equip card that would be like that? Hmm.
Ghost form.
Yeah, Ghost Form's a good one. Standard magic you could play on your creature. Mind Sap, you could technically Mind Sap your, I guess, own creature or your opponent's creature.
That's a bad example. That turns into an infinite.
Does
You
it?
double
Okay.
hit. Yes, the card says once this is played, it becomes an infinite
So it
magic card.
becomes infinite. Okay.
So
Billy's
yeah,
got
so
it down.
standard equips. Yeah, standard equips. Like Ghost form, double hit. Uh, those are the two that come off the top of my head.
But
Yeah,
but what you're saying is there are equips that what are like Claws of the Beast, things like that. I guess would also
yeah.
Wings of the
Claws
Beast,
of the Beast is
Death from
yeah,
Above. Death from Above
is
is
a field card.
oh I get
Is
okay
a field
field
card.
card. Sorry, my brain was just
But basically, there are cards that supersede those four magic slots.
yep
And
five.
It's
sure,
not.
sure
They
enough,
don't. They don't supersede it. I think the misconception is the magic slots at the bottom, the five. Those are infinite magic card slots for
Mm-hmm.
infinite,
Which you
cards.
can't have any more besides five on your field at one time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So actually, Chandler, what I do when I'm physically playing, and I'll do it on Untap too, is if I play a standard equip card or I play a standard like field card that isn't an infinite,
Slide
I
it up.
will put it like to the side. I won't put it below my creature with the
Mm-hmm.
five. I'll only put infinites below my creature in the five slots.
Right.
So it's very like I play a Foggy Night a lot. That's a field card that's a standard use, but it's up for 3 turn cycles and then it's gone. But it doesn't count towards your five infinite equips. So or not equips, infinite magic cards. So I'll
Right.
put like I'll have my creature, I'll have my five, and then I'll put it like to the right or something like that.
But
mhm.
I will say that it is a very common question, even in the Discord, all
Very
over.
common.
People are just like, how does this work? How many can I have? All these things. So it's like I totally can understand. It's one of those another confusing kind of rules to Ward that it's like it's kind of unique to the game. So I totally can
It's
understand it.
it's always been there, but the first time you read it, you're just learning the game, so you're just like,
Right.
oh, your brain tells you don't like conceptualize right at that moment. Oh, there's a difference between infinite and standard cards. You just read magic cards.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as you went through, though, it sounds like you said maybe a little bit of questioning and understanding the game, like as we all have done now. I mean, I'm always a proponent of the Ward staff to hopefully at one point kind of make. I don't know. People always say like Magic has its own rule book and everyone has a rule book. It's like they kind of do need to have like specific things for to be like, all right, this is what this is. This is how we define it. So going forward, this is how the rule works. Because I will say sometimes it's fine to let a ref at that tournament just make the call, but I think it would be beneficial for them to eventually have a very standardized way of like this is how this affects this. This is how this works. This is the chain. All those things. And so that's just
Yeah,
one
we'll
of those
get
things
there.
the game needs. Yeah, but I think they're doing a pretty good job with it at the moment for sure.
Chandler, I got one more question regarding the tournament. What was your favorite part of the
Ooh,
whole event?
good question.
Ooh. Uh, and it's going to sound cheesy, but I'm going to say, like I said, that community alone, out in the middle of nowhere, just being so welcoming. And like I said, I didn't feel like anyone was coming for me during the games. We were just having a good time,
Yeah.
regardless. And I mean, that's been my experience overall. Everyone's just been super helpful. Um, Not quick to, I don't want to say judge, but just I don't know. I could have been playing the best player in the world, Mr. Wardball over here, and he wasn't going to think too highly of himself. He was just going to play me like we were two guys just having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
That's really
Second,
cool.
walking away with the ultimate participation miscongeniality trophy, as I like to call it, the signed Hellwalker.
Yeah, that's sick.
That that was unexpected. Yeah, Evan he gave out participation cards, which I picked. Hopefully, it comes up on the camera. I picked up a Shadow Demon. You know, handed
Nice.
me a binder, and he said, I want to sign it with Big Top Games. And I said, go ahead. I want the clearest, lightest colored card we can find. I want you to put your signature on there. He wanted to commemorate that first tournament. So
That's
they're in it
awesome.
over there. They're taking it seriously, and they're proud of it.
No,
So,
that's awesome.
and it goes back to that community feeling. They were excited for it, and I was excited to be there and part of that first tournament for them for Ward.
Yeah, you got to be
That's
careful with that
awesome.
card, really quick, Chandler. I know KC. He's a guy who's been going around trying to get cards
Oh my
signed for
God.
tournament winners and things and stuff. So at some point, he might want to get that card from you because he's a very high collector of the moments of Ward. So speaking of a
No,
big
that's
moment of
history.
Ward.
Keep that.
Yeah, you better hang on to that, but he might be calling you up here, being like, "Hey, is there any way I could get that card from you?"
Hey, what did I say as soon as I posted that deck? No, Casey, you cannot have the foil Holy Light. You can't do it. I'm not doing it. I told one of you, I
Chandler,
don't remember who. I said, go
yeah,
ahead.
No,
don't tell them.
no, but anyway,
Yeah, I love what you said. I love what you said about the community. I think Ward is unique in that stance that, I don't feel like I'm really having to sweat tournaments whenever I go to play, or I really haven't met any sweaty people besides Tyler, but even then, like he's still just a good guy to play with. Like I've made a lot of good friends playing Ward, and I feel like the tournament like vibes every time I've gone have been like really good, really fun. We're just here to have a good time. So it sounds like that is transcending with the game elsewhere. So that's awesome to hear.
yeah, I think I'm just gonna amplify what you both are saying, and like for me, it's like I don't remember my games very well, as I was saying earlier, but I definitely remember shaking everyone's hand at at the event, talking, having my little chats, and remembering what everybody was, saying, doing, the energy in the room, like all those things. That's the stuff that honestly, like I just cannot forget. So I hope that it was exactly that experience you were having, Chandler. And like as I talked to everybody, that watch WWB and just like have participated in the tournaments, it's like that is exactly what I wish everyone that is in Ward or is trying to get into Ward will get to experience one day, is just being at one of those events and just feeling that energy and that what do you call it, like just that community vibe that just is all over there. And honestly, like to me, I agree, it's like that is like the best part about it. Like I feel like I've just made so many relationships, so many connections doing this game. And yes, even though I do sit kind of in the heart of Ward, I do want everyone else to get to experience those things as well. So it sounds like overall just an amazing tournament. I do want to shout out real quick to Evan and at Big Top Games. I'm gonna say it correct now because I'm promoting you. So if anyone is near Evan's area, what is that, Clayton, Georgia? Make sure to stop in there and definitely buy product. Help him out. Definitely shout him out. Say hey, that you want to join in on all the games and events. I'm sure he puts on more than just Ward, but we're glad that he is. It's like you were saying, Chandler, that he seems very committed to Ward, and hopefully, you guys will have a big booming, community over there as well that will, eventually make their way over to the Ward Bowl so you can win one of these bad boys at some point. But anyway, shout out to Evan, and like I said, to again Big Top Games. So make it out there, guys, and definitely support them. With that, I think we're gonna transition a little bit off of the tournament scene. I do want to bring a little bit of holiday cheer in here, guys. I mean, obviously, I'm repping the hat, so we got to bring a little bit of the positivity and the things. We have a new voice here, Chandler. I'm very curious. I'm assuming you've looked at Gen 3 and are someone who's excited for Gen 3.
Absolutely.
Okay, so with that, then
Sick.
this will be perfect. We're all gonna say something that we're looking forward to, that we're really gonna enjoy in Gen 3, and like it could be a card, could be a whole play style, could be something that they're adding that you just wanted that it doesn't exist yet, and we're just kind of gonna go around and everybody's just gonna talk about something they're excited about in Gen 3, starting with the good Billy Hughes.
The good.
Billy
That's good. I
Hughes.
like that. That's good. Yeah, Gen 3. Uh there are a lot of cards that I'm really excited for, but I think a theme I'm excited for Gen 3. Let me back up and say, going from Gen 1 to Gen 2, um, I think like if I were like say like what was a theme of Gen 2, I would say um, bringing the bringing the lightning cards to bay and also adding some pretty awesome equips to the game. So like Scroll of Silence, my favorite card, and then also like Creator's Gift, Celestial Power, Legendary Armor. All in one, all these big equip cards. I think that really brought a lot of good stuff to the game. So when we go from like Gen 1 and 2 to Gen 3, I'm looking forward to the support that AL12s are getting to the game.
Mhm.
There are a lot of cards that do some really good things for AL12s. Chandler, you talked about a lot of the games where you got beaten came down to your opponent used invested a lot of resources in to get this big bad AL12 on the board, and it paid off. And we're going to get a lot of cards in Gen 3 that are going to make that investing those resources, even less. So we'll get more big monsters on the board and have more big, throw lots of dice with lots of HP. So um, I think it's something that the game has needed for a while now. So I'm really excited to see that.
How about you, Chandler? What's something you're excited for in Ward or in Gen 3, I should
I
say?
mean, it kind of plays off what Billy says, and take this from being more of an amateur at this point. I like to see more cards introduced. It's going to help round out that game. It's going to help give more strategy to everyone because for the past couple years it's been Gen 1, Gen 2. That's it. That's what you've got to work off. Now we can take these, extra 150 and kind of craft our own style, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure.
That's just that expansion, and you've got more options than just scroll of silence, and we've got to reevaluate what our tactics are, like what I have to do now. It's not just going to be fast and hard. It's going to have to be a little more even keel. It's going to take a little more time to kind of get that sweet spot.
Okay. All right. Well, then if I'm to take it, I really like what you both are talking about. You're on the top end, I would say, of the scale. You're talking about the bigger creatures, these things that definitely do need some love. But I just want to shout out the unsung heroes, the little creatures, and like the I would call them like almost like the sackables. Here, Billy, I'm gonna use another term you're gonna hate. I'm gonna call these guys the sackables. These are the
No, I
guys.
hate that.
These are the
Absolutely not.
these are the creatures that end up getting being used as a sack fodder, but they all are
Um,
very important in your deck as well. And I just think overall, like we went from a game where there was a lot of these like little vanilla creatures. They're just meant to be sacked off. That is literally their job. Is like let's just sack you off. And it's just like now I feel like Ward is getting to this point where they're actually respecting these little sackable guys and they're making them have cool, unique effects. Even at the common level, there's so many common
it's true.
and uncommon creatures that I want to try and play with in decks. I mean, I as much as like the orc hunter got a little nerfed, I'm still just excited to see like what I'm a limited summon guy. Anything with limited summon, I'm gonna be about it. But I'm just gonna try to find what common and uncommon creature that I can put in there that's a beast that he can pull out and just little things like that. And I think it just adds to the game. I know they kind of come from, or at least I'm from Yu-Gi-Oh, so like in my mind, this is kind of a little bit of what Yu-Gi-Oh did. I don't want to keep using Yu-Gi-Oh. I know that's not what this game is, but I want more effect creatures and more fun little creatures that have these cool effects than have just like this is the next rodent, this is the next frog. As much as the game kind of does need some of those creatures, I'm not saying get rid of them entirely, but I am just so excited to have these like little sackable creatures that have cool effects, just like Bunnysaurus, just like Kendo Tiger, like all just to add more to that pool of those creatures. So that is what I'm excited about. If I'm to be completely honest, like that is the positive that I think that is going to make Ward have that next vibe to it of like, okay, not only am I thinking about those big creatures I want to bring out that can be my boss creature, what about all these little creatures that I can, mix and match in my deck to kind of give me a different feel that I want for my deck? So yeah, that's
Part of my feedback from the play testing for Gen 3 was that cockroach, which is 10 HP, non effect, maybe it's 20. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's
One
20
dice
HP.
roll. Yeah, 20 HP. It needs to have the effect. This card is immune to apocalypse. Like, come on, that's so easy to put it there. They
Yeah,
didn't do
right.
it, but it's fine. No big deal.
But either way, it's like things like that just make it fun, right? It's like obviously, what's the
Yeah.
scenario that ever happens? Never. But at the end of the day, somebody's gonna look at that card and just be like, "What does it even mean, apocalypse?" And then they're gonna look up apocalypse, and then maybe that gets them into apocalypse. You know, it's like just so much stuff. It's like I just always think about like Raccoon Knight. Those cards were just cards, and then it was like a bunch of people in the Discord just like got together. I mean, obviously there are a couple people that really pushed it, but they just got together and like made those cards bigger than life now. They're like a signature thing of Ward that it's like we have our raccoon community that everyone has to respect or be careful of because they'll come for you. And it sounds like Chandler was part of it too. He's running Raccoon Nights, the raccoon community. But yeah, I guess for me that those were I wanted to say some positive, fun things for Gen 3 because I know we have sometimes where we go a little negative. I mean, I've had my rants, Tyler, we all had our things, and so it's like I just think I want to make sure everyone knows that it's like, hey, we really do enjoy what is coming next. I'm curious for you guys too. I have a question: is how do you feel about like tribal in general coming into Ward? Is that something you guys are kind of wanting? Do you want to have decks that are like this is an all elf deck. This is an all dwarf deck. This is an all. Is that something that you like, or do you kind of like having these like mix and match of like just different creatures that just kind of can come together in certain scenarios, or can't, or what's your guys' thoughts about it?
So I'll take that one first. So from my perspective, and maybe I'm completely misguided, I find it hard to find a consistent strategy. So seeing those tribal designations, it makes me feel like, okay, I want to go all humanoid, I want to go all elemental, and I feel like there's something in there. There's that, we talked about synergy. I think there's definitely something to it as long as all the cards kind of vibe together.
Right.
That's a great point. If you have a hard time trying to figure out what cards go well together, if cards just naturally like say they work with this card, like that's a great starting point. Like I think of gnomes. Gnomes in Gen 2, like they're all rares and uncommons, I think. So if you just say, okay, I'm gonna build a gnome deck, and if I put all the gnomes I have in this deck and they say I get bigger attacks if I have more gnomes in my deck, I think that works, So I'm a big fan of like synergies like that in just making cards like unfortunately Alkanost and Harpy work together, so I have to put them in my deck. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a great also like just having a theme like I think like Shark Deck. Like there was a tournament we went to where someone was playing Perfect Shark, and you call the deck Perfect Shark, and they had a shark mat, they had sharks on their little deck or their card covers, they
Right.
had like this they had a they kept their deck box and like this like it was obviously from some kids playset, but it was like a shark container. So they
Mm-hmm.
they were like the shark guy, So
Right.
and that brings a lot of fun and levity to the game. So and it additionally like the cards work together, so like it generally performs well. So yeah, all for it, love it, want more of it.
No, yeah, okay. You kind of took my thing as just like in general with.
Ah,
Well, no. I'll put my own spin on it. Don't worry, Billy. You know me. I could do it. And like you were saying, I think it gives people the identity, right? Some people want to be the shark guy. Some people want to be the angel guy. Some people, it's like people want those identities, and it's just good to have those different themes in the game. I will say, Ward definitely has their fair share of. I know it's Fabricio's art. He tends to like to have these like muscular, like everyone's just like rah, ripped and jacked. I do think there is a spot for a cutesy, like let's try to get people that like the like cutesier vibe of creatures and things, and like don't get me wrong, when I see Baby Dino, and I know that's one of Fabricio's arts, I think there's probably a market and there's probably a big group of people that want to just have the baby animals be some kind of viable deck, or just have them be in there. I mean, you can obviously make them, but I wouldn't say they're like a viable deck. But I just do think, there's definitely room for like more that they could do with like those different archetypes of like just trying to get people that it's like, this is my identity in Ward. This is what I want to do. Yes, this is coming from a guy who is the Elkanos guy. That is my identity. I love my birds. The birds will always have a place in my heart. Unfortunately, you can't take it from me. I don't care how you nerf them and how you get rid of them. They will exist. But you know what I mean? It creates those moments, and then people can go, "Hey, that's Harry, the Elkanos guy. I know all about him, even if you don't." It's like I have my identity, and I think Ward is just going to be successful with those identities. So like, I do really want tribal. I do say that they
Chandler,
don't
we
need to.
losing them?
What's that? Am
Yeah, I
I?
think we lost him.
Oh, am I cutting out? My internet might be going. Can you hear me? Am I back? I'm back.
Yeah, you're
I
back
think you
now.
are. Yeah.
See,
You've turned into
even my internet's like, you're ranting too hard, Harry. You need to calm down. Just you're going off too hard. But
That's
no,
funny.
I was just to tie my point together. It's like I do think that it's great to have these tribal things and have synergy, as you were saying, Chandler. But I do think it's okay to not make that always like the focus of a set. It shouldn't be like, here comes the angel set. Here comes the orc. Like the orc thing is fine. We don't have any tribal yet. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but I really don't want it to just be like every new like set is just like, this is gonna buff this type really strong, and this is it's like I don't really want that. I want there to always be those goofy creatures like in this set, or there's gonna be monkey duck or whatever.
Monkey duck.
Yeah, it's like I want a monkey duck in every set. I want that one where there's that guy who's just like, you better believe I'm running that wacky creature. I mean, Bugman is something from Gen 2. I'm trying to think like what was some other creatures that existed in those things, that it's just like the fun wacky ones that a lot of people they don't always think about, or they don't really synergize, but they're just fun and wacky. So it's like I want a good balance of all of that, and I think they are doing a very good job. It's like we have things like Hive Lord, like Elkanos, like gnomes that do exist, but it's like they don't just take over front and center in the scene. So yeah, I guess that's just my take on it. With that, do you guys have any other like Gen 3 things maybe you have on your mind you want to talk about before we pivot off of it? Billy? Chandler? Next? Move on? Chandler? Anything?
Pass.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, with that, guys, I think we're kind of getting to the end. I do want to cover the fall league, though, before we, move on. So, Billy, if you want to kind of take over, maybe just go over the results and just kind of how it all finished. We have now fully gotten done. Unfortunately, me and Chandler will probably not be in Billy's wrap-up. We we had our fun in
Everyone's
the league,
in the wrap up.
yeah, okay, everyone's in the
No.
wrap-up, but he'll kind of wrap
All
up
right.
what happened in the final weeks.
So, okay, we finished our play. There he goes. We finished our playoffs for the the WWE Fall Ward League. Again, we have Michelle Mish, our back-to-back champion. She played AJ Hammer in the finals and won with basically a Steam Deck. Very strong. She plays it well, and took her title and defended it well. So congratulations to Mish. Congratulations to AJ. Again, a newer player that wasn't in the fall or wasn't in the summer league. But came in and really made a name for himself and climbed all the way to number 2. So congrats to AJ. And then we had David at number 3, also a new player. I know he's been in the trading scene a lot recently, but in terms of the the leagues that we've done on Untap, also a new player. So having the top 3, 2 out of 3 new players, that's pretty cool. And then also like we had Chandler play, we had a bunch of others as well, and then of course some returning lame Alkanos players like Harry, of course, have to play.
Yeah.
So,
But
no, we had a great time.
Billy, but as you're saying, not just new players. I'm sorry, I'm super excited about this. That's the only reason I'm cutting you off. They're new players, but they're also players that are not, again, from like the main area of where Ward is from. These are people like in Chandler's situation where they're kind of in their own little communities, in their own little areas, and they're all getting to come and participate. And that is exactly what WWB, what the league was kind of built for, is to get all these people this access to a place where they can play Ward. All right, sorry, continue.
Yeah, that's true. I like playing lots of different people, and I don't want to have. I mean, I like going to my game store and playing, but I also like to play other people too. So it's fun to. And if I could do it from the comfort of my own home, I'm going to do that. So I think the league was a success. I had a good time. And I've already got lots of questions like, oh, are we doing another one? Yes, we will do another one. I don't know when, but it'll probably be around when Gen 3 releases and I can get all the cards into Untap. And then we might have a lot of Gen 3 action on the next league. So look forward to that. And the last part of the wrap up that everyone's included in is that no matter where you placed, part of the prize that gets sent out is a randomized first edition Gen 1 card. So everyone who played will get one of those. I then start putting them together. I basically got a bunch of envelopes. I'm going to mix them up, go, and then they're getting mailed out. So those will probably go out tomorrow. Congrats to everybody who played. Congrats to the winners. I hope you had fun and enjoyed and learned something.
Billy, can you give us a sneak peek of what the last place prize was? Maybe on the podcast, it'll probably already be kind of presented, or no? Do you want to hold off?
No, I'm going to continue the tradition of
Ooh.
last place prize will the only person who finds out is the person who gets it and they get to post it. So
Okay. There you go.
Lenrod was our he had a perfect record, went 0-6. So he clinched last place all by himself, didn't need to have a playoff game for that. So he will receive his prize and he can post what he got. Maybe he got a turd sandwich, maybe he got something really cool.
That's awesome. And then maybe just Chandler, I'll let you chime in again and just maybe give something of how you feel about the league and just WWB. And I like to say it. I know people get nervous being on the podcast. Is there anything that you would like to maybe suggest that we do differently, just to maybe enhance the experience of WWB leagues, Untap leagues?
No, I really don't have any suggestions. I thought it was great. Super easy to get into, pretty self-explanatory. I think I kind of prepped myself maybe half a day before my first match, and I felt good about it. And I think the worst thing I had to deal with was all you Central Time boys, being down here in the East Coast. And I appreciate y'all backing this recording up for us and making sure I didn't have to stay up till, like I said, after that 3-hour match that one night. That was rough on me. That was rough on both of us. But there's nothing we can do about that at some point. It just comes down to availability, but otherwise it was great. I've got no suggestions.
What was your favorite format that you played?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm gonna probably go for the one I did better in. I think I did pretty decent in Singleton. I kind of enjoyed that.
Ooh,
nice.
I'm glad. That was my shout out when we were crafting it up. Billy was like, who else could we put in here? I was like, we should try it Singleton. I actually really enjoy Singleton as well, so I'm glad that is something you liked about it.
And it kind of goes off of it's almost tribal in a way. I've got a limited option. I've got to make my best picks in that case. And for me, I happened to win it, and that felt good. I was like, I had limited options, and I was able to pull it through with those options. Mm-hmm. So that felt special for me, at least.
I hear cool. I think that's the one thing that I hear about Singleton, at least that I've had with a couple conversations with people, is they go, oh, well, with Ward, of how small their pools of, how little cards they have, it's like you're going to get so many people that just run the same exact thing in a Singleton because they just try to optimize for the best. And it's like, I don't really think Ward has that ability to always just be optimized. Like I think people, that's one of the struggles that I have when I talk to new players, is they're like, oh, there's always just a better creature than this creature. And it's just like, no, I think there's tons of counter cards or like counter creatures that can really affect a game heavily. And I do think that like people really get caught up in like, oh, you can only run these certain cards, but it's like, no, Ward has so many different options. I mean, there's Undead King, big Singleton one, but there are decks that can shut down Undead King and limited summons. There are, it's like, so I really don't, I try to fight mindset that people have of like, oh yeah, like you can only play certain cards in Singleton because you only have the limited amount of like one creature, and I just think it definitely needs to shine out more. So I hope in the future we do more Singleton so people can see it's like you get tons of different variations of decks and things. Like, obviously some are stronger. I'm not gonna lie, there are stronger decks, but for the most part, it's pretty spaced out.
If you have a suggestion for what you would like to see in the league for the next one we play, put it in the comments. We do read those, and I'm always open to suggestions.
No, for sure. I think there's probably tons of things that we could eventually get into. I was very happy personally with the way our league went again. I think we only get better and better at it. I will say you are right when it comes, Chandler, to just logistics stuff. I do think that is always going to be the one thing that it's like, how can you better do that? It's like, well, you have people in different time zones. You have, everyone needs to get a game in. And I think the way Billy has it where it's like pretty relaxed and it's just like, hey, whenever you find time in a week, play your game. And it's like, other than that, at this moment, I don't know if there's really like a way. Like, me and Billy don't want to be the ward police or the WWB police that crack down on everybody and be like, all right, this is the time you have to play your games, and this is the, it's like we should be able to rely on everybody in the community to just kind of have that and figure out that for themselves. So I really do like how our leagues are going. And as Billy was saying, in the future, yes, I think this is just, from this league, it just shows people that are not from this area get that opportunity to play in the league. And so, that plus also I'm planning on having tournaments once a month for just official play too. So just as many opportunities as we can for people to get in and play. So I think
Chandler, there's another opportunity for you to play in an official tournament. You can do the untapped official tournaments that Harry will be hosting for WWB.
Yes, please
Great.
join. Like I said, I'm sure you probably filled up the post that I had to Chandler for just like official. I'm kind of pushing them pretty hard, so it's like something that I'm trying to get in the ward community, and I'm hoping at some point other people maybe want to try to throw on their tournaments too, because like I've had talks with the ward staff, and maybe this is a big promotion for people. As long as you can be reliable and give them all the information they need, the ward staff is totally fine with anybody who wants to throw on a tournament to throw on a tournament. So if there is people who maybe they don't so much want to play competitively in ward, but they want to have that kind of experience of giving people tournaments, definitely reach out to the ward staff, and I'm sure they would love to give you access to doing that and throwing on your own tournaments and things. So
Crackbacks.
Yeah. With that though, guys, I think we're gonna get to the end here with the final thoughts. If you don't know, Chandler, this is just kind of where we spew off anything that we're just kind of thinking about with Ward as our kind of final thought to give to everybody. But I will want to say thank you for coming on, Chandler, and joining us and giving us that experience of your first in-person tournament. And now that you got it out of the way, now it's just you're on the grind. Now you're like me and Billy. You're just like, when's the next one? We're gonna be getting our ranking up. Let's go. But anyway, what's your final thoughts?
I appreciate you having
Chandler?
me on. Well, I told you I'm big on taking notes and taking away things from every scenario, every situation, and hopefully I can share this one with y'all if it comes out.
Sackable, get out of here!
Sackable, yes. It's
no, it's funny. I'm trying to make a joke, but at the same time, I mean, there is a point. Every card really does have a purpose in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. Even those smaller creatures, I'm thinking about that right now for the last 10 minutes. Everything's got a point. Everything's got a purpose in this game in some way, and I'm always going to take away those thoughts.
Okay, I like that a lot. That's a good thought to end on too. All right, Billy, for you, final thoughts.
My final thought is I'm bringing a notepad to my next tournament. That's a great idea, and hopefully we make that catch on, because I think that's a great way to learn and make yourself better. I'm always trying to get better. I'm always trying to learn, try to have fun, so I think that's a great way to do it.
Awesome. Okay, well, my final thought. First off, I want to say I'm going to give Billy, I need to get you like your own little notepad now. That's going to be my gift, as I am Mr. Mall Santa himself in the flesh. If you haven't figured out my costume yet, I'm the Mall Santa.
You look more like the elf.
Oh, whatever. No, Mall Santa all the way. Don't take this away from me, Billy. I've already had Elkanah stripped from me. Please.
Yeah, right. All right.
But no, like I said, going forward, tournament things, I'm on the horizon. I really want to push online tournaments. I'm so glad that Chandler, you've been playing in our fall league. I just want to give people any ounce of being able to be involved in something in Ward, and until it finally gets to that point where everybody has Ward in their area, has people. It's just it's the new talk of the town, and everybody wants to be involved in it. And so I'm gonna keep pushing it. So if you want to know what's going on that, and that's where I'm at with it. But speaking of pushing stuff, I have a fun surprise that I want to do because I'm in the giving mood. I got the hat on, and I have a pack of Gen 1 of
Let's
the
go.
reprint. And what I want people to do, if you want to get this pack of Gen 1, is in the comments, you can post either a friend that you have, gotten into the game, and just shout them out of an experience where you talk to a friend, or where you have given a random person some Ward as trying to promote the game. And if you could just post down in the comments section, just give like I said, a little bit of a story. Obviously leave your name so I know who to contact for that, but somebody is gonna get a pack. So go down there, post it away. I'm gonna obviously give a couple weeks for people to post and get it out there, but this also goes for you, Chandler. Jump in there, give us your story of, obviously you have a pretty cool tournament event where you met a bunch of cool Ward people. I'm sure some trades and some things happened, but just give a fun anecdotal story, and I'm gonna choose somebody, and they're gonna get this. So there you go. So I'm in a given mood. So here we go. It's Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas to everybody. And with that, I'm going to wrap up episode 45 of WWB. Again, Chandler, thank you for coming on. Billy is always amazing, and we always get to love him. And thank you guys for this time. But with that, it's, again, episode 45, and you guys have a great holiday week. Enjoy all the food, all the festivities. Let me know what you get in your presents, whatever your favorite thing to open is. And with that, have a good night.
Eric Groove.
Take it easy.
Boom. There we go.